Welcome back now to college football, and North Dakota State will hold its final practice of the spring Friday night with the Green and Gold Showcase. And the Bison are not having a game like they have in years past. It'll be a controlled scrimmage for the fans this year. Shawn has more with radio guy Jeff Culhane in our West Fargo studio.
All right, thanks. Here with Jeff Culhane, North Dakota State's voice on the radio side for football and basketball. And it's hard to believe, but spring football finally coming to an end here. Never really felt like we had a spring to have football, though, Jeff.
Yeah, I think everybody in the Dakotas would agree. We've jumped from winter right into summertime. There has been no spring here in 2018. But you're right. I think you look up and down the I-29 corridor with NDSU, and you go down and even up north to UND and SDSU and South Dakota. Everybody kind of wrapping things up and trying to get better, trying to answer questions. That's what spring football is all about. I think every football team, regardless of where they ended in 2017, they have question marks and they have things they need to find out, and also they need to figure out who is going to be their guys in the future as well following this 2018 season. So it's about usually a 6-week window, and NDSU wrapping things up on Friday night with a green gold spring hat.
News coming out that Chris Kleiman getting his contract extended through the 2023 season. I think that's a no-brainer for Matt Larson. Chris Kleiman is 54-6 and .900 winning percentage since he's been head coach at North Dakota State. That's one of those deals for Matt you probably can't get done fast enough.
Well, it's, first off, great work by Matt Larson, and congratulations to Chris Kleiman and to his coaching staff. I mean, as you laid out, the numbers speak for themselves with the head ball coach here at NDSU. The guy's a winner. He has been able to take what Craig Bull started and has taken it to another level. I mean, 3 national championships in 4 seasons, and now even moving into 2018, NDSU is going to be the odds-on favorite in the Missouri Valley Football Conference once again, potentially an 8th consecutive conference title, and they are going to be the preseason #1 rated team again in FCS college football and have a chance at a 7th national championship in 8 seasons, which would be the most in the history of FCS college football. So more than deserving.
Spring football finally coming to a close with the green and gold. It's not even game, it's green and gold scrimmage, showcase, whatever you want to call it. And I remember talking to Chris last Saturday and just said, are you ready for this to be done? And he said, yeah. He goes, we just don't have enough bodies. The reality is when you have half of your team on the shelf because of injury or whatever the case may be, there's only so much work you can get done. And I think at the end of the day, that's why there is no game, and that's why I think Chris has kind of changed his approach a little bit to this game.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing this, Brian, a lot in college football. I think, in certain places, the spring game is something that is starting to become maybe less of a necessity. I think in a place like North Dakota State with a rabid fan base, I think, and Chris Kleiman has told us on our show, on our radio show on Bison 1660 here in Fargo-Moorhead, that because of the nature of the fan base here with Bison football, he wants to have some form of a culmination of spring football, whether it is a game or a practice format or a scrimmage format. He wants the fans to be able to see his team. But I think also the coaching staff, and what makes this staff so good, is they are constantly looking to the future as well. After 2018, NDSU loses a lot of key pieces to the puzzle. 2019 will be, I'm not going to call it a transition year, but there will be more questions. So what do? You get a lot of those guys who are first and second year guys right now, and you force feed them those first and second team reps and put them in situations where they are the starters and they have to answer the questions of being the guy on the field and making the play that they will have to make 2-3 years down the line. I think that's why this coaching staff has had the success they have had and have put guys in the positions to be successful today so they can go and be those types of players for NDSU 2 and 3 years down the line as well.
And I think when you look at the future, one of those key pieces you're talking about is Easton Stick, who really hasn't done much in spring ball at all, has really not thrown the football a little bit here the last few days. Likely not going to see action in the culmination, the green and gold scrimmage tomorrow night, which means the 2 redshirt freshmen, Holden Hotchkiss and Noah Sanders, are the guys that have been really getting force-fed as fast as they can take it in and getting a lot of those first-team reps. And Sanders is an interesting guy that's competing with Hotchkiss. these two are going to live together next year. Those two guys, it is really an important time for them, not only in the spring, but moving into the fall, because one of those two guys are going to come into next spring as the #1 quarterback.
Well, it's like offensive coordinator Courtney Messingham has said, you just got to figure it out. I mean, these guys now are going to be put in the position where in a year or two, they could be the next guy at the quarterback spot after Easton Stick graduates and moves on. And you got a guy like Hotchkiss out of Lakeland, Florida. Noah Sanders is a little bit bigger, maybe a little more dual threat than Holden Hotchkiss is. A Twin Cities kid, Apple Valley High School in Lakeville, Minnesota. So two guys that have been receiving a lot of reps. There has been improvement, there's no doubt. I know the coaching staff has been happy. I think at the start they weren't quite sure what they were going to receive out of these two because they're so young and were really scout team guys a year ago. But both Holden Hotchkiss and Noah Sanders, I think, have made some positive strides for this football team during spring ball in 2018. So the backup quarterback position and who is the next guy behind Easton Stick is a big question for the future.
And as interesting as this spring has been, next spring will be even more interesting.
Oh, yeah, no question. Absolutely.
All right, Jeff Culhane here joining us in studio. Thanks for the time, man.
Thank you.
All right, back to you.
All right, thank you, guys. There will be tailgating for fans starting tomorrow afternoon. The players will get their national championship rings at 6:15, and then the scrimmage will get started at about 6:30 in Fargo. Well, more football coming up next. We will pick apart South Dakota State tight end Dallas Goedert as he waits for the NFL draft. What is he great at? What is he not so great at? According to NFL.com analyst Mike Mayock.